I'll give you the longer version. I said to the little man, how much was that delightful Moroccan table? And he said, 7,000 dirham. I said, well, I'll give you 3. And we came to some agreement over the course of a fortnight. So you can understand, I was very pleased to have it in my possession. And I got it back to the hotel, followed by this damp patch. And the day came to leave, and I got it to the airport, followed by this damp patch. I left him at the airport. I like to think he's still there, in fact. The grass growing green underneath him from all that moisture. And then I arrived at Heathrow with my table, and that's where I saw the sign saying, do you have anything to declare? I thought, well, I have got something to declare. My table. So I went through something to declare, and I said, I've got something to declare. And there was a very officious man there in his uniform, and he obviously didn't like the look of me, and he started to question me. And he said, you didn't come into contact, did you, sir, with any nasty substances while you were over there in Morocco? I said, no. I was too stoned to leave the hotel most of the time. It was foolish to joke, really, under the circumstances, because he questioned me more and more, and in the end I quite lost my temper. I said, leave me alone. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean nasty substances? Do you mean like sperm? He said, right, I'm going to frisk you for that remark. And he frisked me there and then. He frisked me. And he frisked my table. And he frisked my Samsonite. He's frisking crazy, really, I think. He frisked the wall behind me. And he asked me if I'd frisk him. We frisked each other for a while. There was another damp patch. How is the lovely Helga, Russell?
She's very well.
Is she bearing up?
Oh, yes.
I'm worried about this relationship. I was just counting Russell's ribs one night, for insurance purposes, you understand. And I found 5 were missing. So I said, Russell, I said, don't you realize that woman's eating you alive? It'll be your fingers she's nibbling at next. Then what will your piano playing be like? Well, he balked at that. Visibly, he balked. Then he began to sweat, visibly. I like a bit of realism. You are a heterosexual, aren't you, Russell?
I hate you.
That confirms it, then. And I said, you want to see a doctor, Russell, so we set off to the hospital, and on the way there, Russell broke down. So I had to walk the last bit. But we got in there eventually. I got Russell seen by a doctor. Very nice woman, corduroy dress, but very nice. And she said to me, she said, there's nothing wrong with this relationship at all. Russell could manage perfectly well without any ribs whatsoever, although he might need to wear a corset in later life. I thought, that's fine, I won't interfere anymore. And Russell's private life is his own affair. And when Russell turns up to work with an ear missing, I shall say nothing. And when that day dawns, Russell, as it surely will, when you're just a little stump, the size of a bap, scurrying about the place, I shall turn to Russell. And I'll say, Russell, you're fired. But it's only my fun. Do you want me to mop you up?
No, absolutely not. No.
This is one of Fergie's old maternity frocks, you know. Goodness knows what she's been mopping up with this, Russell. Now, I want to warn you about something that's going to happen next Sunday in a publication called The News of the World that I don't suppose any of you people read because it's an unpleasant, sort of scabby sort of paper. I'll tell you about it anyway, just in case someone you don't know very well comes round to your house. with a copy. That could happen, couldn't it? Or you might be mincing down Mare Street in Hackney, and you'll see a copy fluttering in the gutter there, where it belongs. And you'll read this revelation about me, claiming that before I became the Joan Collins fan club, I earned my living making a series of pornographic films with Gordon Honeycomb. I mean, it's obviously ridiculous, and I would just like to state quite clearly in public that neither Gordon or myself have ever appeared in a pornographic film. Those films were art. I think that moment has arrived, don't you, Russell?
I do.
We'd like to take you on, you do look a mess. We'd like to take you on a journey with us backwards in time. Backwards in time. Tell them about it, Russell.
Picture, if you will, Julian's school days. It was a rough, tough, barbaric world.
Indeed it was. Rugby and homosexuality were compulsory then, and frequently combined. I never did quite master the rugby. I was in the bottom team along with all the asthmatics. And in those pre-Clause 28 days, the words head boy had quite a different meaning. In fact, if you stood up in assembly and shouted out the words head boy, half the school would kneel. And most of them would kneel in front of someone called Jimmy. Jimmy used to drive a motorbike, and we would laughingly call him the leader of the pack. And this then is the story of the leader of the pack. Thank you.